And fintech is coming, like fintech is coming, and I think B2B with fintech is going to be amazing, and we have these products. If you need more info, I'm happy to share it later. But of course, Node B2B is one of our B2B products that we are going to launch very soon. Now, coming to the topic of B2B in ONDC, right? And this is something I highlighted in my first statement, right? There's a huge white space opportunity in B2B in ONDC. Whether we look at other countries or whether we look at India itself, there's a huge gap that we see in terms of digitization of B2B now. Now there are multiple factors why this has not happened, but primarily, ONDC can be a big catalyst for making, digitization happen, right? And this is what I predict, that ONDC will take this, from 1% to 25%, and really transform the way B2B happens in India as of today. Right? I keep saying ONDC is the digital eighth wonder of the world, and that's why I highlighted it, because there's so many things happening in ONDC which is so fundamentally different and which is so innovative compared to what's happening around the world. And it is a unique thing which India is creating, which can be adopted by the world, right? So it is definitely, for me, it is it wonder of the world. For a lot of people, I think they would want to see a lot more happening. Now coming to B2B, right? So B2B, if you look at the whole B2B, what encompasses, what are the elements? What are the different elements which, come in B2B, right? Primarily, whenever you think of B2B, you'll think of purchase orders. You'll think about, request for quotations, right? You'll think about GST invoices. You'll think about terms and conditions related to delivery and packaging, right? You will think about, how do I manage my distributors? They have territories, and I want to ensure that when I'm doing B2B, where distributor is buying from retailer, sorry, the retailer is buying from the distributor, right? The territory which distributor has is maintained with respect to the retailers, right? Very, very important in the B2B arena, right? Then the bulk pricing and discounts, right? The whole B2B works on, because there's wholesale discounts, the multi-tier pricing, some kind of freebies which are given with when you do a bulk buy. The whole concept of this pricing, bulk pricing discounts is very fundamental to B2B, and that this has been addressed well, in this B2B spec. Then the credentials of the seller who's selling, does it have a FSI certificate? Does the seller have import certificate? Does the seller has export certificate? All that is the credentials, the creds of the business also needs to be presented to the other party. Then the whole Incoterms, which basically comes in the export side, right? The whole logistics piece of B2B, the whole offline payment mechanism, the payments can B2B can be either before the delivery, on delivery, or after delivery, right? So and some of them are large payments, so they may be offline. So how do you ensure that those nuances of ONDC of B2B is actually captured in the spec and ONDC, right? Lending and credit. Now, credit is a very, very important part of the whole wholesale and B2B part, right? Because most of the distributors or most of the supply chain, the credit also flows with the product, right? It is so fundamental that if you take credit out, suddenly the whole B2B might have a very different dynamics, right? So we'll touch upon that in this session. And then the chat, the buyer and seller should be able to chat and come to some kind of conclusion, either on the terms, or should be able to or pricing, or those kinds of stuff, right? So there's B2B, nothing is fixed, right? We are into B2B software, right? For one client, we talk, another client we talk, the terms can be different, right? It's not a standardized B2C product that Parle G 5 rupees, Parle G 5 rupees, Parle G 5 rupees, right? So B2B has this whole im- you know you know flexibility, which each of these or terms negotiation part, which basically buyer and seller needs to come to a sort of a conclusion on, and chatting is a very important part of it. So we'll touch upon that also in the session. So this basically I'm telling you the whole the landscape of B2B that 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 has been captured in ONDC. And I believe that B2B ONDC API spec is, the spec which has come out, which recently came out actually, is very exhaustive in nature. And but there might be things, because we are a software company, we are not B2B in the, from a product perspective, physical product perspective, right? So there might be few things which I am not able to understand here, whether something is missing. Would love to hear from you guys. What do you feel might be still missing, right? Any questions before I go to the next set of slides? I think I might have some few in the chat. Okay. No, it is just comments here. Any questions from anyone before I proceed?
When you say that purchase order is passed upon and then there's a
Hmm.
request for quotation, so is this happening on the API level and is it like the B2C APIs that there is a
Yeah,
response time between 3 to 5 seconds itself and they are giving a quotation in 3 to 5 seconds?
I'll
So,
come to that. I'll come to that. The next slide basically talks more about the process.
okay,
Now,
okay,
yeah, so I'll come, give me like 2 minutes. I'll come to that
sure,
part.
sure.
It's an
Also,
important question that you're asking,
yeah,
with respect to the time. Yeah. Any other
and
question?
also about when was this B2B document released? How because I was aware that only B2C is being
Yeah.
done currently.
So B2B was released couple of weeks back. I can't give you the, I can give you, if you
No,
ask
no,
me
yeah,
later, I can give you the exact date, but it was released couple of weeks, 2, 3 weeks back, in my view.
got it.
Yeah. Not few months back.
Sure, sure. So is it still in feedback stage or is it a released version?
The one which we have access to is a released version, right?
Okay,
Because we are an NP, we are TSP, we get access to few things. So that's what we have
got
access
it,
to.
got it.
Yeah, so this is, so in this slide basically, and any questions? I have one in chat. What? How to incorporate credit note if applicable in one this. So let's come to that part once we get into the returns and refunds part, right? Yeah, because I think that credit note part uh, probably is not addressed here. Any other question? Someone has raised their hand. You want to ask question?
Hi, Manoj. Thank you for taking out time to explain the process. I'm a layperson at understanding ONDC, and I come from
Okay,
manufacturer's perspective.
okay,
uh, the business happens on a B2B level, right? So explain to me how my journey or how our journeys as manufacturers would go when we deploy our products via our distributors on ONDC, and how would it be which
sure.
interface would I be present on as a manufacturer?
As a manufacturer, okay. So we were basically, if you are new to ONDC, right? The assumption here I took was that ONDC people know about it, and therefore the architecture, people know about it. But let me, since you have asked a question, and I might assume that some people may also be there who don't know how NDC works in a other, maybe, just looking at it right now, or are new to ONDC, right? Now this is broadly the architecture for NDC. I've skipped the slides, coming to just to introduce what ONDC, right? So ONDC is a network. It is a network of platforms, right? it is not only a network of platforms. Today, the way it is working and the way I foresee it becoming is that it will become a network of networks, right? And each of these network is a platform, network of platforms, right? So what you're seeing right now is just one network, which is a retail network, right? ONDC in any of the network is a two-sided network. On one side, you have buyer app nodes, another side you have seller app nodes. Now, whether you look at logistics or whether you look at fintech or whether you look at mobility, the architecture remains the same. In each network, the architecture remains the same. There is a buyer app node and there is a seller app node, right? Now, buyer apps brings traffic demand to the network. The seller app brings supply dispatch capabilities onto the network, right? In a logistics scenario, the seller apps are couriers, the buyer apps are actually seller apps on the retail part, right? So if I have received an order as a seller in the retail network, I will become a buyer of the courier service in the logistics network, right? So my role changes in the network if I go into another network, right? If I am a seller who has received a large B2B order, right, I will become a buyer, a borrower, a buyer of the lending product in the fintech network. So I am going there as a borrower, as a buyer of the lending product, which is offered by sellers who are primarily banks and NBFCs and those kinds of stuff, right? So the architecture remains the same in all the networks. As a manufacturer, you will primarily be on the supply side because you're supplying something on the network, right? You'll not be on the buyer app side. In the retail network, you may be a buyer of the credit, you may be a buyer of the logistics in the logistics network and fintech network, but not in the retail, right? Now you are a manufacturer, you have distributor. Now this is something that, as architecture, I have taken the B2C and put the B2B, on top of it, right? And I thought I was thinking of doing that in later part of the my presentation, but here let's take example, right? You are a manufacturer. You primarily, let's say, have few brands. You maybe you do wholesale of your products. But let's assume you have brands for which basically you need distributors who basically distribute it to the kirana walas, who then primarily will be selling to retailers who primarily will be selling to consumers, right? Now you can directly come as a manufacturer, you can directly come on the ONDC, but primarily because you already have distributor network, you may not want to disturb it, right? You may want to keep your distributors because they're also in the physical space, and ONDC is new, you don't want to disturb a lot of things, right? So you'll primarily, which a lot of FMCG companies also thinking, is they primarily bringing distributors onto the network, and 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 basically kirana walas are buying from these distributors, right? These distributor, now you are a manufacturer, you have distributor 1, distributor 2, distributor 3, distributor 4. Each of these distributors might have a territory, right? Okay, you will take care of this territory, this territory, and this territory, right? Usually these territories, what I've heard is on the pin code level. So we'll say one distributor, you take this pin code, another distributor, you take this pin code, kind of stuff, right? In ONDC, now I'll come to that. But in ONDC, the pin code level serviceability is still not there. So the way the ONDC spec has come, I think they will refine it later, is around radius kilometer. So basically saying distributor A, yours is 4 kilometer radius, distributor B, you have 5 kilometer from the place in which, center of the place from where you operate. Your 4 kilometer radius is yours is 5 kilometer radius, and those kind of stuff, right? So you basically can define territories of your distributor. Only the kirana walas, sorry, only the kirana walas who are in that radius of the distributor will see that distributor products. No other distributor products will be shown to that kirana. Let's say kirana, Gupta kirana store. Let's say I have a kirana store here, right? So I basically through, in this case, let's say buyer app, Craftsilla is a wholesale B2B buyer app, right? So as a Gupta kirana store, I'll go to Craftsilla, and I will, let's say your product is electrical, bulb. Let's say electrical bulb, right? So electrical bulb product from the distributor one will show to me. Distributor 2, distributor 3, distributor 4, I don't have access to. The buyer app will restrict the access because the distributor 1 has said that I am the one who is available in this radius of the Gupta Kirana store. Right? So this is how it works. So I will place order on, well, let's say for the electrical, bulb, 100 quantity of it, I'll place it on Craftsilla. Now this is where the purchase order flows comes into picture. So I'll skip that, but Vibhav, I don't know if you got some sense of it. It's
No,
still
thank you, Manoj. I
Uh,
definitely did understand quite a lot about it. Thank you for that.
okay.
Hi, Manoj. This is Vivek. I have a question. Can I ask?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. Uh, B2B transactions are generally bigger. The journey for B2C is quite simple, and that happens via that nodal account journey
Yeah,
across
yeah.
on a more on a prima facie. In a B2B, let's say the order is, let's say, of 10 lakhs, 20 lakh. One single order is of a 10 lakhs. Now, how does it works out around? Let's say I from a buyer app it comes over. I may not be, I'm a sell, maybe a seller, but I don't have that inventory, 10 lakh, 20 lakh ka inventory. So I first need to accept that order
Yeah. So
explicitly
Vivek,
because,
just give me
mm,
2 seconds.
sure.
Because we came to the introduction part, I missed the whole B2B
Okay,
journey,
sorry.
right?
Okay.
Your question is very pertinent. Your question is very pertinent. That is a large. I will not, I will have to arrange for that, and so I can't
Money.
just accept it right now, right?
Correct. Correct.
So this is how it happens, right?
Okay.
In ONDC, this as let's say you're a manufacturer, you'll publish
Okay.
your catalog, your electrical goods catalog
Right.
you'll push, you will use one of the nodes. So
Right.
in ONDC, you will need at least one, you'll need at least one seller app node to enter into the network. So let's say you
Right.
chose whatever an Idea Masters as one of the seller app node to enter into the network. So as a
Okay.
manufacturer, as a you have appointed, let's say, distributor. So distributor will push the product into
Mm,
the network. So that's the step
mm,
one, which is the step one I have highlighted here, right? Which is
okay.
publishing of the catalog. So
Mm,
catalog may have your, pricing, your image of the product, and I'll come to the pricing part, because pricing in only in B2B is not just one pricing. It is, you can be
slab
slab wise
base.
pricing and also stand right.
Mm,
So
so,
whatever information is needed for that catalog is pushed in the step one. Step two, I am a Kirana wala, Gupta Kirana store. I'll search for
mm,
electrical goods. This is the product discovery I'm doing.
okay.
I see electric, let's say this electric bulb, this
Mm,
electric bulb of, let's say 50 rupees each quantity. I want to
mm,
buy 100, right?
mm,
I will do step three. I will request for quotation. I'm not placing
okay.
any order. I'm just saying, for this, what is the best quote you can give it to me? You were saying me, 50 rupees for 100 quantity, for 200, it will 45 rupees, for,
Okay.
more than 200, it will be 40 rupees.
Mm,
But I am requesting quotation. What's the best quotation you can give it to me? And
okay.
I will wait X number of hours or X number of days, which I will
Okay.
specify in my quotation. And I will wait only for 1 day or 2 day or 3 day, right?
Okay.
Within that time, you have to come with a quotation to me, right? So this has gone to now to the manufacturer distributor. Distributor
Mm,
look at the quotation. They say, I have
mm,
gotten a request for quotation,
mm,
and they will issue a quotation,
okay.
right? And it might be a lower price, high price, whatever the distributor is saying, that it will issue
Okay.
a quotation. This quotation comes to the Kirana guy, which is the
Mm,
step five, and they say the quotation is fine, then issue a purchase order. Right?
okay.
Purchase order goes to the distributor. Distributor will have time. Again, it is a TTL base, time to
Mm,
accept or reject the purchase order. Let's say they
mm,
accept the purchase order, which is a step six.
okay.
Then once the acceptance comes, then the Kirana guy know that my purchase order been accepted.
Mm,
It may be that I'm expected to pay.
Right.
So I'll update the payment, or it may be that the step number 8, which is issue of invoice, actually is the first criteria, and then I will pay, right?
Correct.
Whatever the case is, 7 or 8 may say, but primarily I'll pay. Then the guy will issue invoice, receive the payment, issue invoice, and then the distributor will dispatch, and I will get a dispatch. I can say where's my order, where's my courier, or
Okay.
those kinds. I can. So
Got it.
this is how it flows, right?
And Manoj, just an extension to that question, the money goes via the nodal itself. That journey of the money is the same, nodal, RSP, everything across, or is that's different in this case?
So currently it is designed, I think, very very fluid way, because
Okay.
ONDC in the spec has said that it can be an offline payment, because a lot of people do offline payment and those kind of stuff. So
Mm,
you basically update that I paid and I updated. Right? I think
okay.
in future primarily people will have more trust. As people start to have more trust, they
Mm,
will start to have payment through the RSP. And the reason I'll tell you is that the data can be used for the lending,
right.
right? Because I have paid on time, I have paid frequently, and I paid this much. The the somewhere that data can be used for my better rating in the network, or for
Mm,
getting better lending rates and those kind of stuff,
mm,
right? If I'm lending on the network, right?
got it.
Right. So
Uh,
this is how it happened. Now this is still, if you know the B2C spec, it is still, the APIs are, search on search, select
Right.
on select, init on init, confirm on confirm, right? Now
Mm,
in B2C, confirm on confirm is a basically saying the order is confirmed kind of stuff.
right.
The payment has come. Here basically it is primarily around purchase order. Confirm that
Okay.
I'll give you a purchase order, you're confirming on confirm, you give a purchase order accepted. The
Got
payment
it.
part is happens through update APIs and those kind of stuff.
Got it. I'm sorry, but I'm asking one more question.
Sure, sure.
Uh, I've seen the B2C construct in a way, like from an API standpoint, as you rightly said.
Hmm.
In order to implement this for a B2B, is there a huge delta from an API standpoint, that four APIs, like search,
Yeah.
select, init, and confirm? That four, predominantly these four. Okay. So is
See, I'll
this
tell
the
you,
same?
yeah. No, I'll sorry, I'm cutting short, but I'll tell you the complexity here, right?
Okay.
The complexity, see, if you have a solution, right, and
Hmm,
we also have a solution where we divide into the application layer,
hmm,
which primarily can be on the buyer app side, the website or the mobile app and those kind of stuff. Then we have the
absolutely.
middleware, which basically has the pricing and refund and return and payment. And then the
Right.
ONDC network layer, which is select, init, confirm, all that thing,
Right.
right? So the select, init, confirm, if you have that, the primarily schema changes are not lot. It is
Okay.
it is primarily, if you look at this, something here change, something there change, right?
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
but the app layer, you are now looking at, instead of saying add to cart, place
Hmm,
order, it is request for quotation. It
got it.
is, issue purchase order, those kind of
Got it.
stuff, right?
But from a seller side standpoint, I don't understand buyer app. There would be a lot of changes, obviously.
Hmm.
But from a seller app standpoint, do you see major changes? Is my question. Sorry. Other than
No,
this,
I think
I
I think the purchase order flow is new.
okay.
Quotation is new, because here there in B2C, the cart is created, but you don't look at the
Right.
cart, what happened in the cart, right? It's still a quote,
Okay.
but you don't look at it. Somewhere the cart has to come out and being
Okay.
shown to the seller. Seller will
Okay.
accept. So there's some
Okay.
changes there.
Okay.
Uh, so I primarily see more, if you're building it from B2C to B2B, the app layer has a lot of changes.
Okay.
your
Got it.
your network layer might still, can be
Same.
faster.
Faster. Okay.
Yeah,
Got it. Got it. Thanks. This was really helpful, Manoj. Thank you.
sure,
Hi, Manoj. Actually, I had a query regarding
sure.
what you just explained. If my understanding is correct, over here, the retail seller is acting as a buyer for the seller or who is giving the wholesale products, right?
Yes, you can say that a retailer is a buyer, who is buying from a distributor or brand directly or
Yeah.
uh,
So is it
manufacturer.
that only a retail seller would be able to buy, or anyone who joins the network can come up and do the purchases over here? Like they want to sell it on their shop, but they want to purchase it through ONDC.
See, yeah, some might want a GST, number and all those things. So as a buyer, if you don't have a GST, some may say that I need a GST number, those kind of stuff. There's also the whole GST angle here because the seller has to say that they will be able to generate a GST invoice, right? That
Okay.
communication is also, the seller has to communicate through when the catalog is pushed that I will be able to provide a GST invoice. So as a buyer, let's say buyer app, I'm a buyer app. Let's say I have Craftsil as a buyer app, right?
Mhm.
I may impose that I will only show, I do only allow a product discovery if you have a GST number. Because I don't want to show,
Okay.
to B2C customers on the B2B catalog. Those
Okay.
restrictions might be there, but that will be app specific. This is not from coming from the ONDC perspective. Nothing I've seen which says that you have to have a GST number.
Okay.
So that said, a shop owner, suppose just some kirana shop owner,
Hmm.
that person may come up on the ONDC network and he may make a purchase from the B2B wholesaler. It may be that
Yes, yes,
the B2B wholesaler over here is selling at a cheaper price, right?
yes,
So
yes.
he may purchase it from ONDC network and he may sell it on his shop, right?
Also on
That's
ONDC, you can also sell on ONDC.
Yeah, he can sell it on ONDC as well as he can sell it on his shop, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
And when you say publishing the catalog, is it very similar to what happens in the for the retail seller, how they have to publish the catalog?
Now, catalog, see here the catalog from let's say retail, the pricing is pretty much fixed at Parle is 5 rupees or my bulb is 50 rupees kind of stuff. Here
Okay,
on the wholesale side, what happens is the slab wise pricing comes, right? Now let me come to the pricing part, right? So this
okay,
is this is something unique in a wholesale where you don't see it in a B2C or retail environment, where
okay,
1 to 10 shirts 500 rupees each, 12 to 25 450, 2600 is 400, and it can also extend, right? So ONDC in the B2B spec allows you to put slab wise pricing. So it may not be just one price, which usually we see in B2C spec. In B2B spec, the prices are defined on the based on quantity.
got it. Also, you mentioned that there is a radius criteria over here that B2B will have to cater to,
Yeah.
right? So, is it not possible that a B2B wholesaler is serviceable all over India?
So it is possible. It is basically usually the distributor radius is that control is comes from the brand. The brand is saying that you or distributor is also demanding that I should get this radius kind of stuff, right?
Okay,
If that understanding is that the distributor can sell across India, that with the brand, then there's I don't then basically there's no challenge from a specification perspective. The
okay.
specification you can say that I serve all over India, which is not an issue.
No, but you said right, it's that the B2B wholesaler will have to define their radius, right? So, will they define the radius for all over India?
See, usually what happens, uh, the radius that happens in B2C also. Let's
Okay,
say hyper local kirana wala sells say I only serve 3 kilometer, 2 kilometer radius. I am a jewelry seller. I sell across India. So my radius is like 5,000 kilometers. That's how you say I service all over India versus I service, you know.
isn't it on the basis of the STD code in retail sellers?
No, STD code doesn't. That is just for the discovery part.
Okay,
The
got
STD
it.
code in the context in ONDC is primarily for discovery, search by city context. That
Okay. And when you say dispatch happens, so are there logistics provider involved over here or they are not involved?
No, logistics is there. So as B2B, retail is there, B2B logistics players can also come and start offering B2B couriers.
Okay,
But
so that
there's nothing has been said in the spec about the B2B courier, because I'm assuming it's going to be the same retail logistics network where the B2B offering will also start coming from Shiprocket or delivery, or because they also have B2C, B2B offering, or DTDC, or someone new who does only B2B.
okay, so you mean to say that the logistics contract would remain as it is for B2B?
No, the B2B uh, courier rates will be different. They
No,
usually
that
work.
would be completely different.
Yeah.
That would be completely based on the weight and the quantity, right? That would
Yes.
be basically
Yes.
on the pieces that have been provided. That is
Yes.
completely fine. But do we say that the contract would actually be the same? Like there would
Which
be such
contract are you
entity.
referring to? The contract in the ONDC?
Yeah, B2C contract for logistics.
See, in ONDC, when you are looking at logistics network and you are requesting for a courier, you entering into a contract at the time you have taken the service. If you're taking another service from the same courier, you will enter into another contract.
Correct.
This is what we call transaction level contract, TLCs. This is fundamental to how ONDC operates, that every time you do transaction, you will enter into a transaction level contract, right? And it's a digitally verifiable, signed by the, by the parties on both sides, right? So whether the rates will be different or same, that I don't know, but the contracts will be different each time.
So you mean to say no? By contract, I meant the contract documents which are there by ONDC, right? Which says that there will be a search API, init API, and so on. So would they be different for logistics
That
provider?
I think it remains the same. In logistics network, nothing has been communicated, at least to my knowledge, about
Okay,
the B2B courier. The
got it.
assumption I think is there that the same courier companies will offer different. Let's say it's a 100 rupees, bulk shipment. The courier rates will be bulk rates, because you're requesting for a a surface rate, B2B surface rates.
Sorry, just asking one last question.
Yeah.
So in this the B2C, there is like the retail sellers right now cannot provide their own logistics, right? They would actually make a call to the logistics provider, and they would do the logistics using the logistics providers, right? But is it the same on the B2B part as well, or the wholesalers can provide their own logistics service and could go without selecting a
No,
logistics
in
provider?
B2C also, you can provide your own courier. You don't need to look at on network courier.
Oh, is it?
There's no restriction on that you have to use on network logistics of ONDC.
Okay, got that. Got that. Fine.
Manoj, I'm sorry, but one more last question. This is Vivek again. How does we, from a network standpoint, you validate this is a B2B or a B2C? Let's say I'm a small Kirana store guy. I
Yeah.
I have the GST. I come over. Obviously, the bulk rates and the what do you call, the retail rates are always different, wholesale and the retail rate. I can showcase myself as a not so distributor, as a wholesaler, whereas I'm actually a retailer, and I come over, buy it in bulk, and I do a price arbitrage around. You got my question? I'm confusing in this case.
So you're
Is there a
saying
way we need? Yeah, sorry.
someone who wants to, a consumer, direct consumer is buying in
Right.
bulk, right?
Right. Let's say I'm a consumer and I know I need 50 thumbs up bottles. I'm just making it. Okay.
Hmm.
So I'll say, okay, I come across on the network and I say, okay, I do a B2B transaction of 50 thumbs up bottles. I'm not a even, let's say, but I have a
Yeah.
GST. I have a GST. So
But
can I do this?
there's nothing wrong with that, right? Because it's still a wholesale order.
Okay.
I mean, it's
Okay.
for a wholesaler. It's you're not buying like two pieces.
Right.
still buying
But my
50%.
question is, in our entire ecosystem, Manoj, uh, in currently in the current state, we demarcate who is a wholesaler, who is a retailer, and the network knows it across. Is there like a, okay, this is a verified wholesaler from the network, and yes, they can do a B2B. I'm using what transaction, or is it like, okay,
Mm.
then anybody and everybody can do B2B? Obviously,
Yes,
there is
yes,
a bit.
yes, yes. As of today, if you ask me, Vivek, there's nothing in the
Okay,
spec or anywhere I've heard that uh, that unless the buyer app itself says that I want to verify and ensure that this is a B2B buyer,
got it,
you know,
got
there's
it.
nothing in the spec which says that it has to be verified.
Got it. Because from a network standpoint, when we were talking to some of our customers, their
Mm,
point was very clear. They want to offer that's very bullish on B2B, but the
mm,
rates are different, and they want B2B people to get B2B rates, not the B2C people. There are people like in B2C
mm,
bulk buyers also, and
mhm.
in many cases, getting that rate. Then that their ecosystem would break. Current ecosystem would break actually.
Okay, this
Got
is
it.
Vivek. This is a point that I will note down and probably get deeper into. But
Sure.
today I don't have an answer to be very frank about this.
That would be very helpful, Manoj. Thanks
Sure,
for your
sure.
help.
Yeah. Sorry, I think I'm running out of time here. I'll take questions like in another 5-10 minutes. If I just want to run few slides here. Uh, and offers, basically offers and discounts are a very important part. So we looked at the slab-based pricing, which is another way of saying it's an offer. But some people want to offer, let's say, buy one get one or buy two get two offers, right? So which is, and maybe the criteria maybe for this product I will offer buy one get one, right? And some wholesaler or distributor might offer like flat 10% on if you buy like 2 lakh worth of product or 10 lakh rupees worth of product, and can be on a category. Let's say on for jewelry, I will do that, right? Or some may say the for in this area, let's say I'm doing a promotion because I want my product to get launched, so I will offer a freebie for, let's say, Bangalore, South Bangalore or South Delhi area kind of stuff. Right? It can actually be location specific. All these offers and discounts are supported in B2B. And I'm highlighting it because pricing, offer, and discount is a very important part of B2B. Of course, B2C is also there, but B2B it is important. The other important thing is that I may have received as a distributor, I've received like 200 quantity order, but I will ship it in like phases. That say I ship 100 quantity now, I'll ship another 100 quantity later. So my single order I'm splitting into different shipments, right? It can also be from the buyer. The buyer is requesting that ship me 100 quantity now and then ship me 100 quantity later. So it is not like a standard B2C where the single order has to be shipped at the same time, right? It can actually get split into multiple shipments, right? This feature is supported in B2B spec in ONDC, and also a very important piece of how logistics operate on B2B, right? Distributor. This is what I've talked about, right? As a brand or as someone, in a manufacturer, you may want a distributor to be in a particular locality and have a certain area, and distributor also wants that no one else should also sell in this area other than me. In ONDC B2B spec supports this. Uh, it is not at a pin code level, but currently at a radius level. So you can define that, you know, this from this point and 5 kilometer from here around it, only distributor one will operate. And this point from 5 kilometer on, only distributor three. It might be a little bit difficult to plan it if you're planning it at pin code level right now. But I have heard, I think the pin code level serviceability will come in future. So maybe in the next version it will be there. But today, this distributors serviceability is supported, but at the radius level. Right? Now, certain B2B has some cancellation terms, return terms, replacement terms, packaging terms. if you are doing, import exports, some Incoterms and delivery duties, all these terms and conditions the sellers and buyers can exchange in through B2B spec, and they're available to each other, right? So this is again a very important part of B2B, which is supported in ONDC B2B spec. And I just want to highlight that these points, because for a lot of people, these things are very, very important in B2B. And the credentials part, right? If does this guy has IC code? Does this guy have import license? Does this guy have FSSAI license? Other licenses that you might be needing for a B2B transaction to complete. So credentials can also be exchanged in this format, where you basically say what's my ID number and my, what type of, you know, credential it is, and where I can verify this credential. What is, if you have a picture of, let's say, a certificate, you can attach it, those kind of stuff, right? So seller credentials is also an important piece in which can be communicated between parties through ONDC spec. Um, and chatting. Now, this is something I talked about, right? That buyer and seller should be able to talk to each other, right? And chatting is something, a feature that ONDC is saying that they will support in the spec, and they have given a support there, that B2B buyer and B2B seller can chat through a chat link, which buyer can share with the seller or seller can share with the buyer. So again, important piece, because some people may want to chat before they send a file and quotation, or they accept the purchase order, and those kind of stuff, right? Yeah, so this is primarily to cover all the features of ONDC. Now, I think we have discussed a lot of things already, which I wanted to present, but I thought I'll just take few questions right now, because there are few here. Uh, I've suggested to one of the fintechs that I have invested that the ONDC should get on board back. So this is Venkatesh. I think you can, yeah, you can uh, should get onboarded on back. And yeah, you can connect them to us. That's fine. Please share the recordings. Yeah, this will share.
Hi, Mr. Manoj. Preeti this side. I have three questions.
Sure, sure.
So, first one is, can super stockists, distributors, and retailers place order and do cross sell and purchase between?
So that's what we did. Yeah. So you mean, let's come to the slide here, right? So here basically you're saying that a retailer is buying from a distributor, and then retailer again is selling to someone else, like a
To
customer.
other retailers.
Some other, yeah, this is possible. There's nothing which stops from a ONDC spec perspective for this to happen.
Okay, and in distributors and super stockists can get short-term loan or credit from fintech while booking the order.
So let me come to this is an important question. So this is basically how as I said, ONDC is a collection of networks. That's how it is looking like. That's how it's shaping up. So there's a retail network, and then there's a fintech network. Now, let's say someone is selling, right? Uh, let's say I'm a manufacturer. Let's take example. A manufacturer, I got a very large order on B2B network, right? I can go on the fintech network and be a borrower and say that, see, I have received a large order on B2 on ONDC network in retail, and you can verify it because it is a verifiable order. And here is my history, because I have ratings, and I can present a lot of history. So here's my rating. So I need this much loan, right? And this is a huge piece of information for the lenders, NBFCs and lenders, because they can underwrite based on this data, which is very relevant because the use case is very clear.
Yeah, like Super Money, Mintify, many of
Hmm.
fintech players are giving credit a loan.
Yes, yes. And for them, this data is very useful because it's a verifiable. See, for lending, use case has to be very clear that this for this use I am using, and should be verifiable use, because a lot of people can take lending and use it for something else, right? Here the use case is very clear that I've got this order. This is verifiable, and therefore I can this data can be presented. Second thing is I have history of of from the network, which I can actually the lender can actually take and say that this is a good lender, this is a good seller on the network, so I can give a lower rate because my risk is. Yeah,
After
Preeti,
the
I don't know if I
everything.
answered that question. If you
Mhm.
still have, yeah.
Okay. And third question is, if a order receives through buyer app and multiple distributors are working on the same brand and segment, so how the order flows to distributor, and first who will accept the order and who will fulfill the order? Like in my area, I have
Hmm.
5 Samsung distributors.
Okay.
And if I place an order through ONDC buyer app, so who will accept my order first?
No, basically
Five
it
of
doesn't go to all the 5 distributors, right?
Okay.
So what happens is that, let's say there is a overlap of distributor region, right? If there is no overlap, then as a kirana guy, as someone or a B2B as a buyer, I will not see other distributors. Let's say Samsung. Let's say Samsung has a distributor 1, distributor 2, distributor 3, right?
Hmm.
Distributor 1 is operating from North Delhi, and distributor 2 is in South Delhi. I am in North Delhi. I'm a buyer. I'm in North Delhi. So I will only see distributor 1. Now, it may happen that for some reason, both the distributors can sell in North Delhi and South Delhi, right? So I can see as a buyer app, I can see both distributors. I'll see single product,
Hmm.
which is because the way ONDC is looking at is that the product can be a single if there's a single identifier like a UPC code or something, I'll see a single product. But I will see distributor 1 this pricing, distributor 2 this pricing, and I will have to choose between distributor 1, distributor 2 before I request for quotation. I may request quotation for both. That's fine. There's nothing stops that I take quotation for distributor 1, distributor 2, distributor 3. If I'm seeing that in the area of my
Like if we talk about FMCG, so in my area we have like
Hmm.
10 distributors and 5 retailers for some spice brand.
Yeah.
And I need 100 packets. I'm a halwai. I need 100 packets of like MDH masala. So who will accept my order first in this territory area of 10 distributor and 5 retailers?
No, so basically distributor is not accepting. You are you are basically selecting a distributor.
Okay.
You will see
Like
all the
distributor
10
one,
distributors.
distributor two.
You will
Okay.
see all the distributors. You will select a distributor and then say request for quotation. You may select another distributor and get a request for quotation, take quotation for both and say these are the lowest of the, I'll place order with this guy. Right?
And can
Yeah.
we run loyalty reward system for frequent buyers?
As a manufacturer, yeah, you can run it.
As a manufacturer?
Yes, yes, you can run loyalty rewards. You will have to manage. Now, loyalty rewards is still an interesting area, which in ONDC, I have not seen anyone who has, come up with a holistic loyalty reward options across buyer apps and seller apps and those kinds of stuff. I know few people are thinking about it. I've talked to few of those, but today there is no one single person who is saying that I will manage all the loyalty rewards across the network, right? It's an opportunity for a lot of folks. Uh, but individually you can manage that. Okay, for this customer or for this B2B buyer, he's frequently buying from me, and I
Mhm.
will offer a, let's say some kind of discount, which you can reflect in when you send the quotation.
Okay, understood. Okay, I got my answer. Thank you.
Sure. Preet.
Um,
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt in between, Manoj. This can be the loyalty rewards thing that can be done through chat, right? A person who is buying frequently can actually convey to the wholesaler and have a discussion with him on chat and
Yeah.
can get the price reduced.
Yes. This is why
Uh,
the chatting is there, that so that you can come to a conclusion on pricing, offers, discounts, whatever, and then the quotation can be changed, and then
Also, just wanted to confirm that there's a part of quotation and you getting back the response from the wholesaler. And just in case the chat is the last part, right? When having the chat, my price got reduced, okay, and the final price was different from what I had confirmed my order with.
hmm.
Okay, so do the flow happen again and this order gets cancelled and the flow would flow again, or what happens in that case? Because then it would be an
Yeah.
issue in the invoice generation.
No, I agree. So basically, ONDC does have an option to, in ONDC, they have provided an option to change the purchase order. So if you
Okay.
believe that that the purchase order, what I've said, I can basically update the purchase order and send it to the guy. You can do that in ONDC, right?
So
Once,
sort of a like update API is there.
yeah, yes.
Okay, got it.
Sort of update, yes. So that is there. Quotation can be changed anyways, because quotation, there is no
Yeah.
confirmed order which has been placed. Purchase order
Okay.
is where the confirm happens. That in
So
it,
just
on in it can happen.
Manoj, just a request. Can I ask a question, a basic one, if you
Sure,
allow?
yeah.
So this is Kunal Savan from Build Desk. So just trying to understand. Suppose, say for
Sure.
example, I have a company, Kunal Savan and Company. I take a quotation for 100 LEDs from Ramesh store. I get a quotation, and then I'm buying from Suresh store on a regular basis. Then I share it with Suresh store and say that okay, this is the quotation, which is a better one than what you give it to me usually.
Hmm.
Can you match it? And then Suresh will give it to me. He will match it, and then I'll go to some Satish store. I basically, as a buyer, I'm just trying to negotiate with
Price
multiple sellers.
discovery. Basically, you are doing a price discovery on the network and ensuring that you get the best.
On the network, of the network.
Yeah.
I have my own set of existing sellers plus discovery from the on the network, and
Yeah.
just trying to squeeze as much as I can. I'm just a thought. Just a
No,
thought.
that's a good one, Kunal. I think those things are something which are going to happen in the network, because it's an open network, right? So I can come to do a price discovery. Even a distributor can come on the side and do a price discovery with other distributors or other competitors, right? I don't think there's any way to stop it unless I can see, unless I can then, because I know the GST number, I can probably block that quotation that okay, this guy I know is a distributor and those kinds of, but there's no identification as of today that this is a distributor in the network.
And lot of distribution, it works is there is a credit facility which is given. Pricing is one part, and definitely as you mentioned that there is a credit period of whatever 10 days, 15 days, 20 days, 1 month, whatever, depending on the product. So those lot of
That is taken care of, because there's the payment and credit terms and all those things that you can pay after 30 days, because the payment happens after the purchase order. So that can happen. Once you do the payment, then you update, then they will can ship, or they can ship and you can update the payment
okay,
later.
yes. And last thing is regarding the chat functionality, the protocol. If there is a mobile number which is any which way is given, the seller mobile number is given to the buyer, then any which ways they can talk. Or what is the purpose of this chat protocol? I actually
It
didn't
is
understand.
primarily that if I am on the buyer app, let's say a particular buyer app, and I want to offer a chat functionality between buyer and seller, I can do that. I agree. I mean, because the phone numbers exchange, probably it's not there, but it is a mechanism, where on the app itself I can chat kind of stuff.
Okay, so Manoj, my question is with regards to the flow of counterfeit goods via small-time retailers
Yeah.
that are now being visible, that are now going to gain visibility via the ONDC network, and that are going to onboard themselves. Are there any set structures or any policies put in place to kind of, kind of battle against the flow of counterfeit goods with regards to this?
No, it's a great question. I think counterfeit is going. So if you look at the network, right? So if you let me come to the network here, and if you look at the terminology which I've used, right? The buyer app nodes and seller app nodes are trust nodes in the network. Primarily, these are trust nodes because they bring trust to the party, each other, right? And their trust is dependent on how they behave in the network. They are the gatekeepers of ONDC network. If I, the seller app, is allowing counterfeit products to be sold, right? My rating in the network goes down, and I start to lose trust in the network, right? And it may be that ONDC may penalize the seller app and those kind of stuff, right? So these gatekeepers are the people who have to ensure that counterfeit products are not flowing through. Uh, Other than that, basically, I think it is also a sort of an interesting opportunity in my view for someone to create a mechanism so that people can start to find out whether this is a genuine product or not. Um, I don't know of any solution right now, but I'm assuming it is an opportunity. But nothing in the spec. If you ask me anything in the spec, which as of today I have seen that which can answer this question from the spec perspective or from the ONDC, what
Right.
ONDC is doing kind of
Because
stuff.
often it would happen that the retail would also kind of sell something that it has not procured from the distributor directly, right? It would
Yes.
of course it would have some offline stock that it would try to display. Anyways, that's
The
a
challenge is
I
there. I
got
agree
that.
with the challenge. Counterfeit is definitely a challenge. But I think the way the ONDC and the way I've seen rollout happens is we look at MVP versions first. Let's get out the MVP version which covers the basic flows, and then the next complexities, next layer of additional features come in the next versions of the spec.
Right, right. Thank you so much, Manoj.
Uh,
Unfortunately, so yeah, I'll take the last question because unfortunately we run out of time here. We can do this session again on B2B. I'll take the last question. Sorry about that. Yeah.
uh, yeah, sorry to ask again. Just as you mentioned that we can borrow our money from the fintech providers, right? So can
Yes.
that request be cancelled by them? Is it a possibility?
The borrowing part. When you say that the fintech network.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That borrowing is not tied to the. Basically, these two are independent events from a network perspective, right? Although they can be coupled, but they're still independent in that you have received an order. Based on that order, you are going into the lender network. Lenders can say, I will not lend you. That's fine. That's their choice. And and then basically it comes to in the retail network, what's are the cancellation terms that you have agreed with your buyer app and with the buyer. Can that order be cancelled or not? Uh, those things come into picture. But the lender in the fintech network can reject the application, loan application.
Okay. Just one last thing is can you provide the document for which has been provided by ONDC for B2B?
Sure, I will. I'll check with the ONDC. I don't know whether it's still a public document, but I will check with them. If they say yes, I will definitely provide it.
How can you send it? Like, just wanted to clarify that.
You can subscribe to our WhatsApp community on Plotch ONDC
Oh,
WhatsApp community that we have.
okay.
We can if you are part of this session, we will send you an email in which we'll send you
Okay.
the WhatsApp link. You can share, and then we will publish all the everything there so that you can get it. Yeah.
Noted, noted. Thanks a lot for answering all the questions and really helpful session.
Great to hear that. So sorry, folks, I'm running out of time. But there's a huge opportunity in B2B and exports in ONDC. B2B, when it comes to import and export outside of India, in India, there's a huge opportunity. As I said, B2B is only 1% digitized in India. 99% still there. ONDC is the eighth wonder of the world, which is coming, digital eighth wonder of the world. And very interesting. If you have not looked at ONDC from implementation or adoption perspective, please look at it. It is something that I would not recommend you miss it, right? And thank you again. We will see you next week. And till then, goodbye. Take care. Have a nice weekend. Bye bye. Take care.